Welcome to Personal Development Mastery Podcast, episode 261. This is the third Snippets of Wisdom episode. In these episodes, I select my favorite, most insightful moments from previous episodes of the podcast. The snippet of wisdom I chose for today comes from one of my most highlighted episodes, number 170, with Bob Doyle, who is best known for his contribution in the film and book The Secret as a featured law of attraction expert. The conversation took place in August 2021. It is one of my favorite episodes, and there are many impactful moments and usable wisdom in the conversation. The snippet I chose to play for you today is about our autopilot behaviors and how to use mental rehearsal to rewire our brain and step out of those automatic, unconscious responses that we have. I hope you find this snippet of wisdom as insightful as I have. Here it is. You spoke about the autopilot, and that's it's a very fascinating concept. And my question to you, and I'm sure you hear that often, is the thing with the autopilot is that it takes over, hence the autopilot. So being able to detach from that, to take a step back and realize that I am on the autopilot, I think that is a step. It is obviously the most important step because you become aware of the autopilot.
Yes.
But how can you step back from the autopilot to observe the autopilot?
Yes. So you're training yourself to become aware. So it's literally a negative feeling or a disempowering emotion is a trigger for you to basically say to yourself, this is not the truth. This is just my wiring. Okay. So now knowing that is one thing, but as you said, it's difficult to just shift that sometimes because there's a lot of biology that happens. When we make meaning out of a situation, we're flooded with all these hormones that give us this experience of emotion, and we're literally on our own drugs. And so it's even another layer of challenge to rise above that and still be conscious and go, wow, I'm on autopilot mentally, I'm on autopilot physically, right? But I see that it's just my wiring. Now, if you haven't already decided how you'd like to be different in that situation, then it can be really challenging. But part of my process with working with people is on a daily basis, you're going to sort of look ahead for things that you know are coming up. Obviously, there's going to be these surprises, but things that are coming up in your day where you think you might get triggered into an autopilot reaction, right? In a similar situation, you get too quiet or you talk too much or whatever it is. So you get to rehearse a different way of being ahead of time. This is the magic of our brain. See, we are definitely here to create our experience of reality. Our brain is just, it's all about imagination and visualization, giving us the ability to take action. I mean, we are here to create reality. There's no argument. We're built with these passions and these interests and this drive to grow and expand, just like the rest of the universe. The universe is ever expanding. We are a part of that universe. Therefore, if we don't expand, like if I'm in a dead-end job and we feel it because we're going against our very, very nature. We're here to have these amazing experiences. So having a vision for yourself that inspires you, this is all important too. It can't be sort of lackluster. This desire to change has to be as important and non-negotiable as learning to walk or learning to talk or whatever it is that you know that this is non-negotiable. So you have to make your vision who you want to be and the results you're going to get and how happy, all the feelings that come with it. That's got to become non-negotiable. That will help you in those moments when you have the wire, because you know this person cannot have what the future person is going to have. And it is not negotiable. I must have that. So I have to let go of this and I have to choose something else, as difficult or tricky as it can be. Now, this is the reason that personal development has such a huge failure rate, because there can be great programs out there, and there are. But if a person doesn't stick with any one thing long enough for the wiring to take hold, of course, there's not going to be any permanent transformation. And to think otherwise is, again, that magical thinking. It's completely unrealistic. We're driven by the wiring in our brain. And if we don't change it, if we don't change the behavior long enough to make those neural pathways actually permanent, then of course, any old trigger is going to activate the decades of wiring we have, and we're going to be swept right back up. So again, the awareness is, it gets easier. It gets easier with time. You just notice, oh, I'm in upset. This is autopilot. And I've rehearsed a different way of being, and now I'm going to do it. And then at the end of the day, part of our process is going back over your day and going, okay, where could I have done better? How could I have been a little bit more congruent with the person I want to be and not so autopilot? And then you get to rehearse that and run that with all the feelings. And it's been proven time and time again that these mental rehearsals have physical effects. You hear about it in athletics all the time, people just rehearsing their move, their jump, their whatever it is over and over and over again in their mind. And they're growing neural pathways that will actually show themselves in the physical. So that the way that we're using our brain as a whole, humanity, is to worry about crap. Right? Think about things, solve our problems. So we're not creating anything new and we're not growing. We're stuck on this, or we're ruminating about the past, or we're worried about the future. And that is, of course, going to determine the behavior we take, that we have, and in any of the action we take, and thus the results we get. But if we fill our minds with this vision of the future and empowerment and how we're being and how we're feeling and all of that, then our actions, the meaning we make out of things, is much more likely to be in alignment with that instead of our old way. And that's how our life changes.
Thank you for listening. You can find the full conversation in episode 170. The link is in the show notes. If you got value from today's episode and you would be so kind, take a moment and leave me an Apple Podcasts or Spotify review sharing how personal development mastery has made a difference to you today. Until next time, stand out, don't fit in,